Hi, guys. I'm Adam Malin, and you are watching the Creation Entertainment Podcast. And on today's episode, we've got a special treat for you. We put together an all-star team of sci-fi critics, journalists, and luminaries who have commented on all the sci-fi film and television of the last year. And we put it all on stage in our Creation Podcast, Sci-Fi Cinema Squad Allstars. And we had a fantastic and lively conversation talking about all your favorite film and TV shows and quite assorted opinions on many different projects. And you can weigh in your own thoughts when you watch this. But that was a lot of fun. And we did it here live at our 25th anniversary Trek to Vegas show. So I hope you're going to enjoy that segment. Also in today's episode is part 2 of my interview with Michael Fairman, pretty much the world's most trusted authority on all things soap opera. And of course, Michael and I had a spirited discussion about General Hospital, a show very close to my heart, since we ran General Hospital conventions for 6 years for ABC and for Frank Valentino and the cast and production group over at ABC that produced General Hospital. It's a show very dear to my heart. It's in, I believe it's 63rd year, and it's just a wonderful legacy soap that is beloved and has been beloved by generations of people. I think you're going to enjoy my interview with Michael as we ruminate about all the things going on in General Hospital. And overall, it's a fun and lively episode with a lot of discourse, and it's coming at you guys right now. Hope you enjoy. It's an honor and a privilege to be presenting a live version of our Creation Entertainment Podcast, Pop Culture Cinema Squad. However, here at Star Trek, it becomes the Sci-Fi Cinema Squad. And if you haven't watched our podcast, it's the Creation Entertainment Podcast. We release it more or less once a week, give or take. And we've been having a great time doing it, getting to meet and talk to tons of creatives and interesting people, and also doing segments where we deconstruct and do deep dives on different intellectual property, particularly sci-fi, but not exclusively. But here today, we've gathered some world-renowned cinephiles, experts who are going to come out here and join me, and we're going to do a deconstruction and a deep dive on this year's sci-fi film and TV. I'm very excited for us to do this. The audience is going to hopefully participate as well, but we want to give all the dish on lots of great shows and movies that we've seen over the last year, as well as a few that are coming out. So I'm going to bring them out on stage in no particular order. First of all, this gentleman is a TV showrunner, writer, producer, director, creator of the hit sci-fi CW series Pandora, which we love. And he's worked on TV series like Castle, Librarians, 1982 Greatest Geek Year Ever. He's the writer-producer of the beloved cult classic Free Enterprise, starring Bill Shatner. Author of numerous best-selling books, including 2-volume oral history of Star Trek, The 50-Year Mission. He's also the co-host of Inglorious Trexperts and moderator for many of this week's panels in his fabulously curated Trexpert stage, the one, the only. Please welcome Mr. Mark Altman. Marky. One of the great resources at Creation is an outstanding lady who's worked in entertainment journalism for more than 25 years, working for sites like Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango. She's our director of content at Creation Entertainment for 7 years. She's incredible. She loves doing the Pop Culture Cinema Squad. She and I do that pretty regularly, and she's just an incredible personality with an unbelievable knowledge set, but also an extremely erudite, well-spoken, and lovely lady, Kit Bowen. Kit! Next up, this gentleman, you all know him. He's an award-winning entertainment journalist as well as an entertainment reporter for KTLA in Los Angeles. He's a lifelong Trekker whose first Creation convention was in 1979 in Philadelphia. He's been a beloved buddy of ours ever since. He's also the host of the acclaimed Star Trek podcast, Enterprise Incidents with Scott and Steve. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Scott Mantz. A longtime Superman enthusiast, and now we've got him here at Creation working with us. This gentleman has written the official companion guidebooks for the TV series Smallville, as well as authoring a behind-the-scenes hardcover about Chris Nolan's Dark Knight films. When he's not still writing about TV and movies, he's working hard at Creation Entertainment in our graphics department and is one of the hearts and souls of our podcast, the one, the only, Mr. Craig Byrne. And last but not least, an acclaimed entertainment writer, journalist. He's been writing about entertainment since his college days in the 80s. He specializes in genre fare, including sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, with a particular focus on Star Trek. He's one of our esteemed moderators and hosts at our event. He was the editor-in-chief of StarTrek.com, the official Star Trek site, from 2010 to 2019, as well as working for Starlog magazine, Fangoria magazine for over 25 years, and he's been a part of the Creation family for decades, first as a fan, attending conventions in New York City, and then he's been moderating for us for more than 10 years. Another legend. Please welcome Ian Spelling.
I'm here for the erudite Kit Bowen, by the way, just for the record.
And by the way, what an unbelievable brain trust we've assembled here. Let's have a big hand for these guys. Come on.
I want a band on the Trexpert stage now. They're awesome. Why don't I have a band,
You're
Adam?
just figuring that out? Come on.
You're like the proverbial Arabian camel. Oh, great sheik, I want to put my nose in the tent. Oh, great sheik, I'm going to kick you out of the tent and take the tent over. No, it's great. Thanks so much for being with us, guys. We're going to play it pretty loose here, folks, but we've got a whole bunch of properties from film and television that we're going to talk about in no particular order, but I'll tell you the property, my esteemed panel of experts, and then we'll just start to dish on them and talk about them. I think it's pretty timely to talk about the fact that I am the world's number one Fantastic Four fan, okay? Some of you may think that you are, but I am, okay? I grew up with Stan and Jack, and God knows we had Stan and Jack at our shows in the 70s. I love them to death. And so the Fantastic Four film is out. Panel, take it away. Who's got some comments about the new FF film?
All right,
Come on.
Since you asked, I'm going to take it away with this one. First of all, I know, because I've known you for almost all my life, Adam, that you are a biggest fan of the world's greatest comics magazine, which was the very first official Marvel comic in 1961.
The world's greatest comic magazine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Or at least so Stan proclaimed.
Well, I'm more of a Stan Lee, John Romita guy because I love The Amazing Spider-Man. And I was so excited to see this new Fantastic Four. I felt like the Tim Story movies were, they were fine, but they were too much for families. Not too much for families. They were for families, and that's cool.
You didn't like the Roger Corman one?
I appreciate it for what it is, but it's not a great movie. And the 2015 movie with, Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller, and that was just awful.
That was terrible.
All right, so the good news is that the new Fantastic Four movie is the best Fantastic Four movie yet.
What do you think, audience? Yes? Do you agree?
Has anybody seen it? Yeah?
The bad news is that's not saying enough. Because even though I like the look of the film, the retro look, that 2001: A Space Odyssey inspired set design, the 60s look, I still thought the biggest crime of all with the Fantastic Four movie is that the characters were dull as dishwater. They were boring. And also...
I disagree.
Okay, wait, hey, I want Kit Bowen. I also feel like...
The erudite Kit Bowen.
I also felt like Pedro Pascal had one facial expression the whole time, which was... And also...
That could have been a miscasting, Pedro.
Well, not only was that a miscasting...
That's a miscasting.
But I felt like Vanessa Kirby, who I think she's been doing great work. She was terrific in the last 2 Mission Impossible movies. She was totally miscast as Sue Storm. Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby had zero chemistry. And I just thought it was a fantastic bore. Take it away, Kit
Go on,
Bone.
Kit.
Well, I disagree. I actually liked their chemistry together, and I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but what I appreciated about it, it was simple. There wasn't some overblown, horrible, 13,000 characters coming in and them having to fight this huge giant thing at the end.
Like Superman?
Yeah. But I did. I enjoyed their chemistry. I thought all 4 of them were really good together. And the theme of it, I mean, it kind of it gave me a little heartening. It's about family.
I did.
And the baby was really cute.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're not addressing the 800,000-pound gorilla in the room, and that is my man, Galactus, okay? Can I get some love for Galactus? He is one of the great Jack Kirby creations of all time, and of course, Stan's incredible dialogue for him. He's above good, he's above evil, and his herald. And so I just thought that finally we had a fabulous-looking Galactus. I was going to say Godzilla, because he does kind of lumber through the cities. Now, I thought Galactus was fantastic. I thought the female Silver Surfer, Shalaba, was sensational. That's the sexiest Silver Surfer I've ever seen, by the way. But I really love Galactus and the Silver Surfer, so I couldn't help but love that film. At least they got that part right, I thought. Marky.
Well, Adam, I feel like it's Turnabout Intruder, and Scott and I have traded bodies. He's Janet Lester, I'm Captain Kirk. But the thing is, it's so interesting to hear him be negative, because when he goes low, I go high, and I think that I loved the promise of Fantastic Four. I loved Galactus. The fact that they did it as a cloud in the Tim Story versions.
Oh,
this
God.
was the Galactus right out of the comics.
Thank God.
And what a great performance. The voice was right. The look was great. Is
So
the
great.
movie perfect? No. But at the end of the day, it's called Fantastic Four First Steps, which I thought was a terrible title until I saw the movie. And I said, this is a great first step. This is not going to be the greatest Fantastic Four movie, just like Captain America, the First Avenger wasn't but it started the franchise in a respectable way. And that's what I think Fantastic Four does. It sets out to see, are there casting issues? You could say so, but it captures the Kirby feel of the comic books from that era. The 60s aesthetic was fantastic. And, I think the movie is a great first step towards a great franchise.
I mean, I loved Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. I thought Mole Man was really fantastic. And again, Matt Shackman's directing. I mean, it was a good piece of directing work. Production credentials are exceptional. I want to live in that mid-century world. All right, we got to move on, guys. I'm sorry, but thanks for those comments. All right, let's talk about Superman. Craig, Superman is your domain, so let's start with you. We're going to talk about the new Superman movie. First of all, let me get the audience's Superman, yay or nay? How many yay? And how many nay? All right, I think it got a good reception then. Craigie, what do you got for us?
So my initial reaction upon seeing the movie was, I'm not sure about this. And then the more I thought about it, the more I enjoyed it, because this is a Superman who's a good guy. He loves Lois. He loves his dog, or the dog that he's taking care of. He loves his family. He cares about the people of Earth. And that's what I always saw Superman as. 10 years ago, we had a movie where, he just lets his dad get taken away in a tornado, and that was not very good to me. But I thought David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan had incredible chemistry together.
Craig, who wrote the script?
James Gunn.
It was
He
James Gunn wrote the
yes.
script and directed it as well.
Am I correct?
Also the head of the
DC
DCU.
Studios.
So I felt like this wasn't a movie, it was an agenda to start a whole new franchise. And this is a Superman movie, but Superman was a guest star in his own film. He had 3 scenes with Lois Lane. The script was a mess. It was all over the place. And, I just felt like, when look, maybe I'm definitely old school, going back to Christopher Reeve. He was the GOAT as Superman and Clark Kent. You had 3 scenes between Clark Kent, or Superman and Lois Lane, including that kiss at the end, spoiler alert. and I just felt like, just give me a Superman movie. Just give me a standalone Superman movie. Instead, I felt like I already missed 5 other films before I even went in to see this movie.
Okay, hey, Ian, what do you got to say about this?
I enjoyed it overall. I did think it was very slow at the beginning. The first hour, I thought was painfully slow. You got to establish the world again. I get all of that. But I was honestly a little bored in the first hour. And then I totally agree about the chemistry. I thought that's what made it work. And for them to pull that off in just 3 scenes was remarkable. But I totally agree that it was too much of world starting. And it's also my issue with Fantastic Four in a different way, because Fantastic Four was a good movie, but it's not a great movie. Right. And the box office in the second weekend's down significantly because the fans went and other fans, other moviegoers did not. It did not hit all 4 quadrants. And that was probably because they were so devoted to the comic book.
Okay,
All right, what's the consensus on Nathan Fillion as the doofy Green Lantern in this film? Do we like him or no?
Goofy fun.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is what James Gunn was trying to do. He's jump-starting this entire thing. He's trying to be like Kevin Feige. So he's setting this all up so that all of these things are going to happen. So we've got to be introduced to the Justice League or people from that. We've got to this whole other universe thing that Lex Luthor creates. I thought that was the stupidest part of the
Mark,
movie.
what have you got for us?
When did I become Mr. Positive? This is unbelievable to me. I thought he was a great guy, Gardner. I mean, obviously, I worked with Nathan on Castle, and I love Nathan, but I thought he was terrific. He epitomized again, the same thing about Superman. It's not the Christopher Reeve movie, which is my favorite superhero movie of all time. It's the comic book, and it does a beautiful job of adapting this feel of it stepped right out of the comic book pages. Again, flawed, not perfect, but the hate that's spewing towards it's hard to imagine. And of course, I love James. I worked with James on my second movie, and I think he's great. And I think he got the assignment. He delivered.
All right, well, that's great. Thanks, guys. We've got to keep moving on here. We're going to take a look at Jurassic World Rebirth. Kit, what have you got for us?
Oh, man. I have been a huge fan of Jurassic Park World series through the whole thing. Even Jurassic World Dominion, which I did end up watching again recently. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but it's still not great. But anyway, I mean... Jurassic Park was one of my all-time favorites, and all subsequently, all the films have always been pretty good to me. So then, when Jurassic World came out, I was so excited about the restart of it, the reboot of it. Loved that movie. The sequels weren't quite as good, but now we're kind of back to. I feel like we're back to basics with Rebirth, and they're back on another island, another Isla, what are they called? Something. And they're all Nubar Islas.
All right, first of all, Jurassic World Rebirth was stillborn. It was a bad movie. The only part I cared about was
He's got a pun
Johansson.
for every show we're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Scarlett Johansson was miscast. I didn't care at all. I didn't care at all about the other family. That felt stitched together. The only good Jurassic Park movie is Jurassic Park. Everything else sucked.
No, wait a minute. Tell me if you think the Jurassic Park 3 is underrated.
Underrated. I will say that.
Jurassic Park 3, underrated, right? Okay, thank you.
It's great to see that it engenders so much controversy. I've got a quick note about that first Jurassic Park film. I guess when Steven Spielberg was developing the property, before CG had really come into its own, he was working with Phil Tippett on a system that was essentially motion capture from maquettes. And so they would take a dinosaur armature and move it incrementally like in stop motion, but it had computer cables hooked up to a rudimentary computer system. And then what they would do is take the stop motion capture and do CG mapping, surface texture mapping onto that to create the original dinosaur CG. So the original dinosaur CG was not entirely computer generated with sort of the techniques that they used later on, but it's actually originally developed as a hybrid of a stop motion technology that was motion captured for computers for CG surface texturing. And the reason that I know this is because my son, the great Sean Malin, who works at Prop Store, they auctioned off Phil Tippett's actual maquette armature with all the computer cables coming off of it, and it was bought by I'm not allowed to say, the guys that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars at these prop houses, they're guys like Spielberg, Lucas, Guillermo del Toro. If you're wondering who's outbidding you for all that stuff on those auctions, it's like the filmmakers themselves. Anyway, a little Jurassic Park story.
Adam, real fast. Phil Tippett, there's a show, a Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas that's about to start, I believe, or it's on now, that it's all Phil Tippett. It's his work.
And he's one of the great geniuses. And motion picture effects technology is evolving so rapidly; it's so crazy.
Have you watched Light and Magic on Disney Plus?
Yes,
phenomenal.
It's with like a 3-part. Yeah.
One other thing, Adam. I just want to say he mentioned his son Sean Malin. I met Sean Malin when he was like 3 weeks old. I had been working for Creation for about 2 months, and I love that kid. I'm so proud of Sean Malin.
So I wish he was here right now. I know he's an incredible cinephile. Okay, I just watched Thunderbolts, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're going to have a lot of disagreement about that film. I didn't like it, okay? Kit, I think you liked it.
I did.
I really thought it was pretty insipid. Okay, I need to get the panel's reaction on Thunderbolts, please. Anybody?
Go ahead, Scott.
All right. I think Thunderbolts is a solid movie. Still not great. The problem is that if you weren't watching the Disney Plus shows, you were going to be really lost with who most of these characters are. It had a very sort of scraping at the bottom of the barrel kind of feel to it when it came to the superheroes. I think of Marvel, I want to see Spider-Man, I want to see X-Men, I want to see, a good Fantastic Four. I want to see Captain America, I want to see Iron Man. I don't know who these people are, and I feel like there's been so much to stay on top of with the movies and with the TV shows, and I kind of stopped watching the Disney Plus shows, and I was lost with Thunderbolts. I thought it was okay, not the right film to start.
I don't have a huge problem with the protagonist. I have a real problem with that doofy antagonist, the big bad of that film. I mean, that really is just like
the villain was anxiety and depression. That was the villain.
Yeah.
That's why this movie kind of inspired me for Marvel movie, because it was kind of different. It was very introverted, and and Florence Pugh, I'm sorry, she carried the whole movie, and I thought she was fantastic.
I agree with you 1,000%.
She's good, and I have no problem with the protagonist, but again, I just thought the overall storyline was kind of weak. I do have a question. We're seeing some spoilers in this conversation, folks, sorry. We're seeing the Fantastic Four modern day, their ship coming in at the end of the film. And then now we've all seen Fantastic Four, which of course was from the 60s. What is the inference, because I'm kind of thick, what is the inference that we're going to make out of that, the fact that we're seeing the FF vehicle in modern day? Scotty?
Well, the Fantastic Four was
right?
it was a different Earth. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's a multiverse, yeah.
Right, yeah. Which is another part of the problem. Who cares about this other universe? Why do we need another universe in the Superman
There's
movie?
not just one.
It's so confusing. It's all more of the same. Give me something different, for crying out loud.
That's what Thunderbolts was, though.
But that's what I liked
thought.
about Thunderbolts. I didn't know those characters. I'd never read any of that stuff.
No,
It was
but-
new to me. It was fresh just because I hadn't seen it 1,000 times in 6 different types of remakes and reboots. So I enjoyed it just for that alone, to be honest
Scott,
with you.
would you like a tranquilizer?
If it weren't for the multiverse, nobody would have gone to see Wolverine meets Deadpool. Because, there were some great cameos in that. But for me, I actually have not seen Thunderbolts yet, because I saw that trailer and I'm like, we have the Suicide Squad at home. It reminded me so much of James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie.
All right, let's move on. Did anybody see Megan 2.0? And what did we think of it?
At best. As sequels go, what, you liked it?
No, I didn't. You go.
Okay, I was going to say, I liked you until about 30 seconds ago. I thought it was so disappointing. I loved the trailer. I was actually stoked for the sequel. And it sucked. It was just silly and not scary and too campy, and it went absolutely nowhere. And
Tried to make her, like they tried to do for Megan what T2 did for the Terminator. And they tried to make Megan a protagonist instead of an antagonist, and that was the problem.
And the whole thing just tried too hard and didn't work, honestly.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of a Charles Band movie, a little bit. For those of you of a certain age that are familiar with Charles Band's films. Yeah, Puppet Masters, that kind of thing. Okay, guys, what do you have to say about Mickey 17? All right? All right, first of all, the director, Bong Joon-ho. All right.
Winning
talk to me.
director.
Oscar
Bong
winning.
Talk to me.
Who loved Parasite? First, I'm just going to ask that. Okay. All right.
Best movie of that year, and it was the best movie of that year won the Oscar for Best Picture.
I know. He's a fabulous director. I think he's very inventive.
Snowpiercer.
Huh?
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
Okja.
Okja, yep. Yep.
Okay.
Mickey 17 was a little weird and, kind of problematic, but overall I sort of enjoyed it. Obviously, again, Robert Pattinson does something, that I have never seen him do before in a way. And he's one of those actors that always wants to stretch himself. So I thought he was really good. But yeah, the movie was just, it was trying to make a statement a little too hard, I think. What do you guys think?
I saw it on the airplane, actually. And I will say, one great laugh that I've had in a long time was the scene where he gets his hand cut off and it just floats by the window and nobody pays any attention to it.
It's pretty funny.
I'm sitting on the airplane laughing out loud like an idiot. Everybody's looking at me. I'm laughing out loud. Other than that, I really didn't care for the movie. I thought it was gorgeous to look at, but just meandering, just went on.
Kind of missed the mark, I think, sort of, right? Yeah.
Good effort, but a failed movie.
Good, a high concept, but it doesn't quite deliver. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Avatar franchise, guys. Fire and Ash, #2 in the series. We have another one coming, I believe, in December. And what's the state of opinion on the Avatar series and on the #2 in the edition, Fire and Ash?
Are we done yet with the Avatar movies? I mean, the first Avatar was, it made almost $3 billion worldwide, but it lost the Academy Award for Best Picture to what was then the lowest grossing movie at the box office up to that point, which was The Hurt Locker. And the right movie won for that year, too. But, the second Avatar was more the same. It was okay. It was fine, but it was too long. And I saw the trailer for the third film. I'm like, okay, so what's different? Sorry, James Cameron. Can you go back to making something that's not an Avatar movie, please?
Well, he's an unbelievable filmmaker. So, you watch the first Avatar and you're just like, oh.
Up until Avatar 2, his worst movie was Piranha 2.
But everybody's...
Hey.
But every word that came out of everyone's mouth was just like so trite and so it's like, James Cameron, don't write. Just make the movie and have somebody really good write.
Well, there was a reason why he did not get nominated for original screenplay for Titanic. It got nominated for everything else, but not screenplay.
Well, at the very least, though, we know Avatar will always deliver production excellence, and there is something to be said for that. He's a world-class filmmaker, but yeah, maybe he shouldn't be writing his scripts. Now, we have a movie that hasn't come out yet that I'm kind of excited about, Tron Ares. Anybody got anything to say about that for us?
The trailer looks pretty cool. It's a great franchise too. I think there's a lot of. I did a set visit for the Tron that came out, however many years I can't.
Tron Legacy?
Yeah, they flew me up to Vancouver and we did the club scene. It was very cool,
I think the Tron thing the whole Tron concept is pretty cool.
Hey, wasn't that Joseph Kosinski who directed that one?
Yeah.
And I love Jared Leto too.
F1.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the best movie of the year so far, which is Sinners? Sinners is a great movie. I love the hell out of that film. That is awesome. Also, the movie Weapons, which opens this Friday, or actually Thursday night, because that's how they do it now. That is excellent. We're starting to get some good movies.
Okay, let's get on to some TV shows. Now, there was a curious show that's been on Apple TV recently, Murderbot. Okay, what's the panel's thoughts about Murderbot? Anybody in the audience watch it? Did you like it? I thought it was kind of interesting and quirky. What do you got to say about Murderbot?
I have not seen a single episode.
I have not. I watched the first episode and I was a little bored. So does it get better? Does it? What, episode 3? Okay. All right.
Well, you
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Alexander Skarsgård, of course, comes from that great showbiz dynasty. And, he's just trying to play that certain affectation of an android. So he's going to kind of come off and act in a certain way. But there's also a show within a show that he sort of pulls upon. He's sort of kind of like a Galaxy Quest kind of a show, which he's obsessed with, which is kind of interesting as an android with John Cho as a captain and Clark Gregg is in it. It kind of reminds me, this show within a show, reminds me a lot of Galaxy Quest. So I thought that was kind of cool.
The only murder bot I'm interested in is lore, so I'm not really.
Bum, bum.
Everything else on Apple is incredible. I mean,
Okay.
For All Mankind.
All right. Well, let's talk about some other Apple shows. Severance. Severance.
Severance is great.
All right.
Severance and The Studio are the most nominated shows, and they're both on Apple. Comedy
Studio's
series and drama
fabulous, but
series.
it's not Sci-Fi, so we won't talk about it here, even though we love Seth Rogen, and it's a fantastic show. Let's talk about Severance, guys. All right, come on. What do you got for me?
I just wanted to say, Kit and Adam over there did a great discussion of Severance on the Creation podcast. If you love the show, you should listen to their commentary.
I mean, let me ask you guys. The first season was unbelievable, right? So, I mean, blew me away, unique, completely different, nothing I'd ever seen before. Second season, you have that caveat now. You have that thing that you're
You gotta
hoping
live
that
up
it'll
to
be
it.
the same, right? I thought season 2 was ultimately really good, but there were definitely low points as opposed to the first season where every episode was like, ugh. The second season was just got a little weird for weird's sakes. Do you guys agree? No? Okay. Well, anyway, it did for me a little bit, but
I'll
it ended
agree
on a
with
high
you.
note.
It was trying too hard to be Twin Peaks.
Right?
It was weirdness for weirdness' sake. Overall, it's still great. Performance is great. The direction's beautiful. They spent a ungodly amount of money on it, so it looked amazing. But I agree, it's not as good as season 1.
It's funny. You said Twin Peaks. I thought of The Prisoner, which The Prisoner is a masterpiece. 17 episodes.
In a class by itself. Yeah. Right. That building is pretty fascinating. It was Bell Laboratories' corporate headquarters. Wow. I guess it's got a real mid-century vibe, going on with it. But, I think the cast's credits are pretty impeccable. Adam Scott's awesome. Britt Lower, Patricia Arquette, sensational. Turturro is great. Zach Cherry. Trammell Tillman, who we've been seeing a bunch of lately, really sensational. Even the great Christopher Walken is in a kind of a quirky role. It's a good cast, It's a good ensemble.
What would your innie be like, Scott?
What was my what?
Your innie.
My innie would be, that would be very
He would
interesting.
love Superman.
Yeah. You know what? He'd be, what would my innie be like? He would be a Rolling Stones fan. It's not the Beatles.
All right. We have an anthology show that we've been enjoying, Black Mirror. Oh, yeah. And the latest season dropped finally, and I thought it was pretty darn good. It had some great episodes. Anybody got any thoughts about it?
Black Mirror is the Twilight Zone of our time.
Yes. But it's all tech related, so you're waiting for that. So sometimes the episode will start and it seems like a normal thing, but then some sort of tech thing comes involved, and I just love that about it. It's all tech related, right? Yeah.
There's that continuation of that story with Jesse Plemons and Krista Milioti, which I thought was kind of a good sort of follow-up and conclusion to that saga.
Alistair, yeah.
There was also an episode with Paul Giamatti that I thought was pretty sensational.
Speaking of Christine Milioti, has anyone seen The Penguin series
Yeah.
on HBO?
Great in
We
that.
were going to get to that, but as long as we're talking
Yeah,
about it,
well, you brought it up.
let's talk about Penguin.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, incredible. Well, it's got about 20, Emmy nominations.
I just thought it was, because the Batman universe is there's so much, and we've seen so much, different Batmans and whatnot. But to zero in on the Penguin and make it more of a mob crime drama was just fantastic. The writing was unbelievable. Yeah, and Christine Milioti and Colin Farrell were just unbelievable.
You want to see a good Kristen Milioti movie? It's on Hulu. It's called Palm Springs.
Yes,
That
brilliant
movie
movie.
is excellent.
Super entertaining.
What surprised me, though, is my frame of reference for her was The Mother and how
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the title. So I didn't have a lot of expectation, and she was just blowing it away week after week after week. And Colin Farrell, with all that makeup on, could still give an A-plus performance.
He killed.
Yeah, it was great.
He
The
killed.
other thing that was interesting with the performance that I found was, again, we're talking about a lot of properties where we're seeing the same characters over and over and over again, and Penguin happens to be great in pretty much every adaptation that we've seen, right?
Yeah, like Gotham.
Gotham, he was great. Robin Lord Taylor was fabulous in it.
Danny DeVito, we can't.
Danny
we gotta
DeVito,
we gotta
right?
give him
And go
props.
back to the old TV show. So, I mean, to have Colin Farrell come in and give such an unbelievable performance, it was great. I really enjoyed that, more than I expected.
Also, I think it's the one take on the Penguin that's fairly joyless and, serious. There's no comedic intent there. I mean, he's just downright a semi-tragic, fascinating character study.
That's what I thought about Burgess Meredith, too. But maybe that was just me.
Great
Breaks his
Burgess Meredith.
glasses.
Twilight Zone.
Okay, The Last of Us. Here we go. Another take on zombies, except this time it's fungi related.
And let me just say, Adam does not like zombies. Okay, you're not into the zombie genre.
It's not that I'm not into them. It's just that I've been there, done that 1,000 times, and I'm not saying that The Last of Us is bad. I'm just saying that they've gone to the well on zombies a bit too much. In fact, we just had a zombie episode of Strange New Worlds, and it's just like it's been there, done that. Go on, Mark.
I was just going to say, I mean, there's a big spoiler in Last of Us. Can we talk about it or not? Because I think it's...
Yeah, we can. Does anybody have a problem with spoilers? Yes. All right. Go ahead.
Fantastic Four ship comes in.
I was
Go
going to say,
on.
for everybody who thinks that there's too much Pedro Pascal, I think the problem with Last of Us is there's not enough Pedro Pascal. I mean, when killing him off was just... I mean,
That was a shock.
I know they're trying to be faithful to the game, but I thought the second season was a huge letdown from the first season.
But that episode was
Well, it's
great.
because he was dead after like
that
two
episode.
episodes. He was dead after 2 episodes. I mean, it's
And
like,
then it really meanders and it struggles to find its way again after that.
Okay, Handmaid's Tale. What does our esteemed panelists have to say about that?
So
My-
I
Go-
go ahead.
go.
You go ahead.
Ladies first.
All right. Well, I
Erudite
should be.
ladies
I
first.
should be.
Erudite ladies first.
I really was just drawn in for the first like 2 or 3 seasons and completely was, horrified, but also it was just well written and it was, brilliantly acted. It started to get real repetitive to me, especially after she got out of whatever what's the name of the, why am I blanking of the name of the place that they're from? Anyway, when she goes to Canada. It just kept getting, it was like the same thing over and over again. But you know what? I made myself finish it because I started it and I felt like I needed to put a closure on it. And it didn't end poorly. I thought it was great, but it was still not as strong as those first few seasons. That's my opinion.
I agree with you, kid. We loved the show. My wife and I watched it religiously. We sat down and watched it live, didn't tape it, and thought it was terrific, especially the first couple of seasons. The performances never got bad. Everybody was fully invested. But how many times can you see her go, right, with the big eyes, like she's about to cry or kill you or both?
You had to go on every mission. I'm going. I'm going to go.
Right.
We're going across the border. I'm going.
So it got incredibly repetitive. I was also, as much as I really actually did think they stuck the landing in the finale, if everybody saw it, I hope I'm not ruining anything for anybody if you haven't seen it, but there's this whole thing where she's about to be hanged, and she's up there for like 5 minutes, hanging. I'm like, this fucking woman should be dead. And meanwhile, somebody runs and tries to get a crane taken care of, and it's endless. Like, save her, move on. Nobody took a bullet. Nobody did anything. Somebody has to run and manually save her, and then somebody finally shoots the rope. I was like, come on. They just milked it like a cow.
Okay, let me set up this next show we're going to talk about. The year is 1971. The very first creation event in New York City at the New Yorker Hotel. Yeah, we've been doing it for those of you newbies, and practically none of you are, but for the couple of you that are new, we've been running shows for 54 years. And so...
You made a
Okay.
deal with the devil to look so young. You do not look old enough to be that.
So,
Or
you
you
know,
Grails.
we were little shits when we started. Anyway, the very first show, I advertise it, and I get contacted by Isaac Asimov. And he says, "Oh, I'd like to come down to your show." And I read some of his books, and I knew he was really intense. I was way too young to recognize the significance of having Isaac Asimov at our show. But there he was with those fantastic sideburns and that so opinionated, so outspoken, and such a mind, such a futurist mind. And for, I want to say, 7 or 8 years until he passed, every year at our New York show, Isaac would come and regale the audience. And I treasured those moments. I just wish I had been an adult when the guy was coming, because I really could have appreciated him a hell of a lot more. Anyway, I wish he could have lived to see Foundation on Apple TV, one of his great properties. And I myself have a love affair with that show. I just think that show is so fantastic. The story is so incredible. And but I'm curious to, hear from my colleagues and hear your take on Foundation. We're in the 3rd season right now, right in the middle of the 3rd season. What do you got for me, guys? Anybody?
I have never seen an episode of it.
I think I might be the only one. Did you guys watch it? No. Okay. Yes. We've also had a really great conversation on the Creation podcast about Foundation. He's taught me a lot of. He actually knows so much about it. Adam does, so it helped put things in perspective. I felt it's a little like Game of Thrones, where you had to stop it and go, okay, so who is that person and what's their deal, and you had to just map everybody together. There's so many different story arcs going on, but it looks amazing. Lee Pace is fantastic in it. He's my favorite. That whole section with the sunset and the...
How many people in the audience are not familiar with the story behind Foundation? Raise your hands if you're not familiar with it. Okay. Basically, it's an empire in the future that is governed by a clone dynasty. The Cleonic dynasty is a succession of clones from an original clone, Dawn, Day, and Dusk, and they have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. And there is a mathematician who, in the midst of this empire, develops a system of mathematics that can predict the future. And through his mathematics, he predicts that the empire will, as so many empires do, ultimately fail, decay and fail. And so to prevent the disruption to the galaxy, he comes up with the concept of creating a foundation, an alliance of people that will live separately from the empire and hopefully keep the galaxy from falling into kind of a real dark ages. And so there's ultimately, of course, there's a tension between the empire and the foundation. And now in the 3rd season, we've seen the emergence of a new entity, a person. There are telepaths in this universe, and one of them is so powerful that he's threatening to create a divide or disruption. He's disruptive between the empire and the foundation, which is already now on its 2nd foundation. And they, using this system of mathematics predictives, they are seeing that in 4 years, future seems to come to an end. The inference is that this mule, this supreme telepath, is going to end society, civilization, the future as we know it. It's a very amazing read. Start by reading the Foundation books, and then watch the show. Like Kid alluded to, I mean, Lee Pace is unbelievable. Jared Harris is sensational as Harry Seldon. You have a whole cast of... Oh, and then the Cleonic dynasty is aided by a mysterious woman who is actually a robot. And she's the last of the robots because the robots were all destroyed because of the whole AI thing. I mean, Isaac was predicting the rise of AI and the potential antagonism between AI and humans, 60 years ago, almost 70 years ago. And so this one robot is left, and it serves the Cleonic dynasty. But it's because some of you, or if not most of you, know that there's Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, is the robots can't hurt humans, but if humans are hurting each other, then the robot has to figure out between, not hurting individual humans as opposed to preserving the entire human race, in which case they can kill individual humans, and she does. Anyway, tune into Foundation because it's an amazing story. Has anybody caught Nautilus, which has just showed up out of nowhere? It's kind of a Jules Verne, Captain Nemo story. Anybody check it out?
One of our
Anybody
friends from
interested?
Star
Not
Trek.
yet, not yet. I'm going to though. Yeah, and
Go
the guy
ahead,
from Star
Ian.
Trek. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Shazad Latif.
Shazad Latif, yes.
the captain.
He's Captain Nemo, that's right.
It's good. It's good. It's not great. It's good.
Well, it's just showed up out of nowhere, so
It was shot a couple of years ago and is
Yeah.
finally making it over here. Yeah.
okay. Anybody have any news on? Of course, we have Blade Runner fans in the audience, right? I thought Blade Runner 2049 was pretty fantastic. Denis Villeneuve.
Today, I got to tell you, Blade Runner is up there with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's one of my 2 favorite movies of all time. And I was really nervous about Blade Runner 2049, even with Denis Villeneuve calling the shots. But I got to tell you, 2049 is actually a better film. And I never thought I would
great
say
film.
that. I love Blade Runner 2049.
By the way, I guess Denny got the gig for the next James Bond movie, right? Denis Villeneuve directing the next James Bond film. They just have to figure out who James, or Janet Bond is going to be. I don't think they know yet. Anybody have anything to say about that?
Nothing yet, but the writer is the guy from Peaky Blinders, McKnight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Steve McKnight.
Anyway, so we have a Blade Runner 2099 TV series coming from Scott Free, Ridley Scott's production company. Anybody have any dish on it or any scoop on that at all?
No dish, but, after 2049, I'm looking forward to 2099.
It's for Amazon, and it's super expensive. I can tell you that.
Well, everything is getting really expensive these days, Mark. But yeah, it's for be on Amazon, huh? So what does that mean? They'll drop it 2 or 3 episodes and then episodic every week.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, panelists, full season drop at once or weekly episodic drop. Which is good and which is a sin?
I prefer weekly because it gives you something to look forward to, lets the momentum build, and lets it be part of the discussion for a longer period of time.
I prefer the binge because I'm a movie guy, and if you can binge a bunch of episodes, it feels like a movie.
I like splitting the difference. I thought Andor did it brilliantly. How have we not talked about Andor? It's only
Talk about
like the
Andor
best
for real
TV
quick.
show of
It's
all
on
time.
the list, Mark, but since we're on Andor, we'll talk about Andor next, but just again, there seems to be kind of divided. Some people want, they want
I can go either way.
I can go either way also. I think some shows work better binged, and some shows, like you're saying, you want to build up the anticipation. And then there are shows, you can't watch everything. My wife does not particularly care for sci-fi. So if I'm watching sci-fi, it's on my computer, or when she's doing something, or she's on Poshmark, or doing whatever my wife is doing, that's when I catch up on my sci-fi stuff. It's a question of how much you can watch, and that's when I find myself binging.
Yeah, the standalone series work better as an episodic. Obviously with serialization being the norm, you're so anxious with the cliffhanger to jump right into the next thing. But there is, with the old Heinz commercial, anticipation, there is something nice about that. So
How did Pandora roll out initially?
it was weekly, CW. It was
It was weekly, yeah. Because I've watched it in, videos and a bunch at a time, but I've never actually watched it when it aired.
Yeah, neither did America. No, I'm kidding.
No, great
but-
series, by the way, Mark.
Thank you.
Great series. Okay,
We got to talk about Andor.
we're going
Let's
to talk
talk about
Andor
Andor.
right
He
now.
burst a brain
What did
cell.
you guys? What
Right.
did you guys think about Andor? Did you love it? Andor, come on, show it some love for God's sakes, people. That was an amazing
Because
show.
Andor really isn't a Star Wars. I feel like it's set in the Star Wars universe, but it is so far beyond what Star Wars usually is. It's funny, if you watch Andor, it's a political drama is what it is. It's like Succession or House of Cards or something, this is what I got the feeling of. And then you watch the original First Hope again, or New Hope, sorry, New Hope, you watch it again,
I
you're
prefer
like,
to call it Star Wars.
okay, Star Wars. and you watch it again, there's like, you know, it's like, it just seems, I don't know, they just seem so diametrically different.
Well, and of course, Rogue One was such a magnificent film, such a great film.
Yeah, that's what-
and
yeah.
then doing Andor is just so fantastic. Mark?
It's a remarkable achievement, and there are two people who are the rock stars of that. Tony Gilroy, who wrote it and adapted it, and then, of course, Luke Hull, who was the production design. It operates at such a high level, both in terms of the stories it's telling, being prescient, the casting. Just as great as the first season is, the second season just pushed it to shame, and it's absolutely remarkable that a science fiction series can accomplish everything it did, and there's just a cerebral quality to it. And the fact that Gilroy is not a Star Wars fan, but yet was able to do kind of the perfect Star Wars show is really, it's sort of what Nick Meyer did with Star Trek, where he knew nothing about Star Trek. In fact, he actively disliked it, and then he discovered what was great about Star Trek and made a perfect movie.
But really, fascism is so deep at the heart of what the Star Wars saga is all about. And we don't really think about it in the Star Wars movies in the way that Andor really brought it to the fore, using that whole French Revolutionary kind of comparison to sort of really get across that whole sense of fascism. I also think there were a lot of personal tragedies. For me, Luthen's character arc, the great Stellan Skarsgård, whom I adore, Luthen's descent into kind of becoming a sort of a evil, bad character, and the extents that he would go through to further his cause, I thought was, an incredible character arcs. What else, guys? Come on. Andor.
All I'm going to say is whenever a new Star Wars movie would come out or one of the other shows, there'd be these tools who'd say, oh, it's the best Star Wars since The Empire Strikes Back. But Andor Season 2 really is the best Star Wars since The Empire Strikes Back. And as far as, Adam, what we're seeing in Season 2, I think what's resonating is that we're, experiencing it in the real world. And it's extremely relevant and timely. And sci-fi has always been at its best when it served as an allegory. But in this case,
It's a docudrama.
it is a docudrama.
I do want to call up a couple of character arcs in there that I loved. I loved Denise Goff and Kyle Soller as Deidre and Cyril. I thought they had an amazing character arc together. It was really, really fantastic. And then, of course, I think Denise as a protege to Major Partagaz, Anton Lesser, who's such a fabulous Shakespearean actor. I thought that was really, really incredible. Also, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. I think her character really is in ascendance and is an important part of overall Star Wars continuity. Just a masterful piece of work. I think most of us can agree about that.
There's probably not a better hour of television than Who Are You? And Welcome to the Rebellion is pretty close. I mean, it's sensational.
Okay, well, I think we're all anticipating the final season of Stranger Things, or at least I am. I'm a Stranger Things fan. What have you guys got to say about Stranger Things, the series, and or the anticipation for the final season?
Well, talk about dragging things out. It's taken way too long. I think some people have moved on. I think some people have simply lost
Just
interest.
in terms of between season 4 and season 5.
Yeah, it's
What
just-
was the reasons for that, Ian?
The actors were all working, especially Millie. And
Strikes.
and the strikes and all of that. So a lot of things delayed it. And the Duffer brothers were taking their time, I think, trying to stick the landing as well. But I'm excited for it. I loved the trailer. There is this buzz about whatever is going on Broadway right now with their show there as well. I've loved the show from the beginning. Have there been bad episodes and lulls? Sure. But overall, and just the guest stars, I've enjoyed, and I'm eager to see who they're going to have this year. I'm stoked for it. I hope it delivers. One thing I will say is I hope that not all of the episodes are movie length. I thought they did indulge a little too much in, okay, Netflix is letting us have carte blanche. We're going to take advantage of it. I hope they pull it in just a little bit.
Is the Stranger Things Broadway show going on right now? Is it? It's already in?
I think it's still running, yeah.
Is it? It's not a musical, is it?
No.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we're all anticipating that. And again, those kids have, grown up. They're like, 7 years older than when they first started. So, I mean, like Millie is completely, different.
She's
She's
a
had
girl,
quite
and
a
now
career.
she's a woman. Big difference.
Yeah. Okay, did anybody catch Dune Prophecy? I know we have some Dune fans in the audience. How about the series Dune Prophecy? Anybody get a chance to see that?
That one I have not seen.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Once again, touches on the sort of a Dune prequel, and it sort of touched on again the tension and war between AI and humans, that humans had ultimately won, and it features again, Galactic Empire. In this case, the great Mark Snow, who is so fantastic as the emperor or duke of that time, and the Bene Gesserit, this religious order of women who are in their own way trying to genetically manipulate the outcome of dynasties and generations so that they can ultimately control the galaxy. And into this is thrust a guy from Arrakis, the desert planet with the spice, who seems to have the ability to burn up adversaries. He could just kind of squinch his eyes and make them burn up. And spoiler alert, at the end of the first season, we discover that he actually has nanites embedded in him by AI, which he uses to kill his opponents on behalf of the Duke. So I thought it was, a good character study in the Bene Gesserit. It focused on them, but also on the sort of the prehistory of the Galactic Empire that ultimately, we reach in the Dune films themselves, which, by the way, again, Denis Villeneuve, I mean, we could just, again, say what an incredible job he did on those films. Anybody know anything about Dune 3, release date? Any information on it?
Dune Messiah?
Dune Messiah.
Yeah, they're filming now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's not even going to be able to do anything with the Bond film for a while. He's kind of committed to a lot of things, but very exciting. I mean, obviously he did a great job with those first two films, and very different from the David Lynch film, which a lot of people don't like, but I do.
Oh, I love the Lynch
Yeah,
film.
me too. So
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I do like that movie too. It's a terrific, and that's what's great when you have a movie like that that can be so very different.
Which film?
Dune 84.
Lynch Dune, yeah.
And what a,
Yeah.
even though Lynch disowned it till his dying day.
He hated that movie.
He
It's so
hated
stupid.
that
He's so
movie.
stupid.
And there's a wonderful book about that called The Masterpiece in Disarray, which is all about the making of Dune 84, and it's phenomenal. And it goes into all the details of, and poor David Lynch, you just feel the life being sucked out of him as he makes it.
I mean, the thing that's so crazy is, of course, I mean, the technology didn't exist to kind of do the stuff that he muddled through it. I think, some of the animatronic work in that movie is kind of feeble, but it's still visually, I think, pretty stunning for the time, and a lot of great optical work and, great directing on David's part.
I mean, you had a studio and a producer, Dino De Laurentiis, who just wanted to keep spending less and less money, so he was a victim of that, and keep the running time down.
All right, we're nearly at the end of our tether. And by the way, this has been fabulous, you guys. Haven't they been fantastic? Come on, show them some love. These are amazing. What's the scoop on Doctor Who, guys? First of all, did Disney drop Doctor Who? What happened there?
Right now, I think that's the case, but I think they're negotiating, the BBC, and they are being courted by other places like Netflix or Warner Brothers, HBO Max.
What was the consensus on Ncuti Gatwa?
Ncuti is the pronunciation of his name.
Ncuti?
I think the problem with Ncuti ultimately is we didn't get to know him long enough. They developed this character, and he I think the first season he missed a couple of episodes, more or less. The second year, they really built him up, had a great rapport with his companion, Belinda Chandra, and then boom, it's over. Wow. Spoiler warning.
Honestly, I think Russell Davies is an incredible showrunner. He's an amazing writer, but also just the way that he keeps the whole ship on track. I mean, you got to really give it to the guy. He's pretty remarkable. And I do miss Stephen Moffat also, who is an unbelievable talent as well.
I mean, I'll say this, when I was doing The Librarians, Dean was hugely influenced by Doctor Who, and I hadn't really watched it since the old Tom Baker days, and so I started watching the David Tennant years and everything, and it just, I didn't realize how great modern Doctor Who was, and it's really just terrific.
What do you have to say about the new Librarian show that's just, I think it just dropped its season finale this past week?
I just saw the first episode. I thought it's terrific. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun episode. It's got that own peculiarity of filming in Serbia, you know what I'm saying? So it's all the kind of the Serbian sites, a lot of historical stuff, but beautifully crafted show. I mean, you know, I don't expect anything less from Dean.
One last thing before we head out, because I don't think we might be on the list, but Alien Earth, guys. Yeah. Alien Earth, it's dropping soon, right?
Has anybody seen the trailer?
Did you see it yet?
Not yet.
Killer.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Noah Hawley is just an amazing talent. I mean, Fargo is brilliant. To adapt the Coen brothers and do something worthy of the Coen brothers is amazing. And Alien Earth, you know, it seems like he's honoring Ridley and honoring Jim Cameron, but doing his own thing, and it looks phenomenal.
Too bad
Hawley
he
is a
didn't do
genius.
that fourth Star Trek movie with Chris Pine and Zach Quinto.
Wouldn't that have been great?
Noah Hawley is a genius. Fargo, the 5 seasons of Fargo is a work of art. The 5th season of Fargo was a total bomb with Juno Temple and John Hamm. It was freaking unbelievable. And Noah's incredible. And speaking of Noah Hawley, his fantastic musical collaborator, Jeff Russo, who will be with us this Saturday evening delivering an unbelievable concert with the full Las Vegas Nevada Pops Philharmonic Orchestra to deliver a night of Jeff Russo music. What do you think about that? And as if that wasn't enough, we will be world premiering the first live performance of the orchestral music from Alien
And
Earth.
Earth.
Oh,
That is
great.
right.
Oh.
So I wouldn't be surprised if in the middle of the concert something pops out from the back of the stage that has the body of a crab and the head of a social worker. It's going to be really horrible, whatever it is. And but Alien Earth is going to be amazing, and the word is all the critics are saying it's going to be fantastic. I just want to see all the different new ways that aliens can penetrate our bodies. There's the eyeball thing. Did you catch the eyeball thing? It's like an eyeball that attaches to your eyeball, and then it sends tendrils into your brain, and now you're one of them. Kind of like Invaders from Mars, where the alien brain now kind of controls you. And then there's some kind of a plant thing that slowly digests you over 10,000 years, kind of like the pit of Sarlacc. And but yeah, it's going to be really, really great. Any last thoughts? I see our
We have
musical
questions
team
over
is.
there? Do you have questions?
Yes, we have questions. Go on.
Hi, my name is Nancy. I'm here with my partner Colin. We came in from the East Coast just to come see Trexperts. And we know who your innie is. It's Ed Appel from Devil in the Dark.
That's a deep cut to Devil
Ed
in the
Appel
Dark.
from Devil in the Dark.
Wow, that's very nice of you to say, but I don't know about Ed
No,
Appel.
you mean shot at it. No, I mean shot it with this. Fascinating.
Schmitter
Ed
was
Appel.
burned to a
Vote
crisp.
for Ed Appel. Let's hear it for Ed Appel.
And we wanted to thank specifically Mr. Malin, because if you hadn't brought the Trexperts here, Colin and I wouldn't be spending buku bucks here.
Oh, shucks. Well, it's really not too hard of a stretch to get a guy like Mark and the unbelievable brain trust and incredible intellectual assets that he brings to our show. He's just, stepped our show up 1,000,000%. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, ma'am. Okay, hi.
Just want to say, you mentioned Isaac Asimov. I'm sure if that he were alive and here today, that he would love the Superman movie. So anyway. Yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park given the circumstances, folks.
I'm an Arthur C. Clarke kind of guy anyway. So
Okay, all
there
right.
you go.
He would have loved Rachel Brosnahan, that's for
Yes. All right, so just a question for all 5 of you. You all work with a myriad of people and personalities, and if you could just sum it up in a couple sentences, what is the most difficult part of your job?
You mean from being an entertainment journalist, that part of
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
career? Okay. Because I have no difficulties working for Creation, none whatsoever.
We love creation. We
Yeah,
love
we love
working at creation. We really do.
Back in the day, it was my dream job to, basically write movie reviews and interview all these celebrities. But, I think the most difficult part of it is working with the people, working for the companies that you work for, because as we know as writers, it changes so drastically. So you could have the most cush job in the world, and suddenly they'll sell the website to somebody else, and then you're gone. So it was great to be kind of on the ground floor of working in online entertainment journalism at Hollywood.com. That was my first website I worked for. But yeah, it's just it was just hard to kind of make it a stable long-term thing.
I would say two things. One is seeing a movie that you don't like and then having to interview the cast the next day.
Like Superman.
Doesn't that happen a lot for you, though?
That
Doesn't
is
that happen a
exactly what
lot?
happened with Superman. I did not like the film, and I'm like, shit, I got to freaking interview these guys tomorrow.
You can find other things
You
to
know,
talk
but
about.
I've been doing this for 25 years, so I know how to sort of grease the rails. But I think the other thing that's really hard is social media, because in the last, 10, 15 years, but more in the last 5 years, if you are in the minority on something, if you don't like something and you post about it, you just get pounced on by the trolls and the fanboys, and it's just so toxic. Social media is so toxic. I wish I did not have to be on social media. I hate it, but it's a necessary evil to be an entertainment journalist, reporter, press person. You got to do it.
I'm getting dirty signs from the side of the stage that we've overstayed our welcome. So forgive me, guys. I have to cut us off. It's been amazing, so much fun. Let's hear it for them. Ian,
Thank you,
Craig,
Adam.
Scott,
Adam.
Kit, and Mark.
Coming.
The Sci-Fi Cinema Squad.
Never heard you so negative. Michael Fairman, welcome back to part 2 of the Creation Entertainment Podcast, Pop Cinema Squad.
I'm glad to be back on the Pop Cinema Squad, part 2.
Thank you, buddy. And I know we have so much to talk about in the ensuing time between when you and I last spoke and now, yet more bombshells have dropped. But hopefully it won't affect our continuity discussion too much. But if we may, buddy, we're going to pick up talking about some of the legacy characters from the show, and specifically the characters involved in current continuity. So the next person that we were going to talk about was Dominic Zampronia, Dante. He's come through a lot of changes over the last few years. You want to just sort of give us a little bit of background on the character?
Well, sure. I mean, when Dante first came on the show, he was working against Sonny, who turned out to be his father, he was going undercover to nab Sonny. And of course, it was revealed that he is his biological son with Olivia. And after that all came out, we're kind of having a redo of that now, because Dante's found out that Gio is his son and he never knew about Gio. But interestingly enough, there were times over the years that, Dante was kind of backburnered, and we kept hoping that they'll wake Lulu up, his ex-wife, and then that took forever to recast the role. So I kind of feel like, they paired him with Sam, right? And then they killed off Kelly Monaco, as we talked about last time. Now Alexa Havens is playing Lulu, and they've just combusted over the secret of
It's
Gio. So I hope that all makes sense, but that's kind of...
Wait, let's just step back for a second. He was like a Manchurian candidate at one point, wasn't he?
Yes.
And of course, Sonny, before he knew that it was his son, shot him.
She shot him
Yeah,
in the key moment of the whole thing, shot him. He goes down.
yeah,
Olivia runs in and goes, "You shot your own son." And then
great.
that becomes the classic moment where I was thinking this time, and I want to know what you thought as somebody who watches the show. Fast forward to 2025, and we get the nurse's ball, which all the bombshells dropped, and Geo hears that he's biologically a son of Dante
Because of Lula's loud mouth,
because
yes.
of Lulu's loud mouth. So, they're talking. Geo finds out the truth, explodes at the nurse's ball, breaks the violin, has a great moment, walks out, and Dante's left there. And I was like, prior to that, he was going in on Geo for thinking that he helped Rocco drink too much at that party.
Rocco, most of our viewers know that Rocco had a binge out at the beach uh, with Gio and with
With
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, they were at the beach, and he had ended up with alcohol poisoning, which nobody could quite realize that. But Dante blamed Gio, and I mean this is the perfect setup because now he's completely alienated Gio just in time for Gio to find out that Dante is his dad.
Correct. So now Gio hates Dante. They're going to have this big reconciliation because Dante was so awful to Gio and just went off on him. So obviously, this is going to take some time. But the other thing was Dante and Lulu just admitted that they loved each other. And
Right.
then,
Well, here's the thing. We know that Lulu still had her thing for Dante. I think Dante still, rightly so, in a period of mourning for Sam. But yeah, he's always had feelings for Lulu, and we get that. But talk about a romance block when this all of this chaos is caused. So now do you think this has derailed their potential romance?
yes, I think in true soap fashion, this will derail their romance.
Right.
Now the whole thing is going to be, do we think that Dante's going to circle back to Brooklyn because there'll be trouble in the marriage of Chase and Brooklyn? Or what do we think is going to happen there?
Wait a second. Why would Chase and Brooklyn have trouble in their marriage? They seem like the quintessential happy
Well,
couple.
apparently there's a scene coming up where Chase and Dante have a thing, like a snoot
Oh,
off,
they used to be cops together, right?
right? And they were buddies. And now there's this thing in the room that you had sex with my wife and had a baby. And I don't
Years
know,
ago.
39 years ago or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know, right? Why it's a mess,
It's a
right? It's a
it's
mess.
a mess. Yes, it's a mess. Well, I'm rooting for Dante to find love other than with Lulu. Now, I don't want to again alienate the viewers because I know a lot of them have sympathy for Lulu, but I,
I
I
don't think so right now. I don't think so right now. They are turning on her in droves.
I'm not happy with that lady, and she just seemed to cause an awful lot of trouble. Speaking of causing a lot of trouble, we have the fabulous Maura West as Ava. Okay, let's start by doing a little bit of a deep dive into her continuity. The Jerome family is notorious. Give us some background.
Well, the Jerome family's notorious. She came in, Julian Jerome was there first, and then Ava was the sister, and then Maura West came to General Hospital and was horrible. I mean, the character was horrible. Like, Maura's amazing, the best of the best,
We love
but
her.
the best, like,
Yeah.
best person, best actor. Like, I can go on and on about her.
But Ava,
Ava. Oh my God. So she comes in, she kills Connie Falconeri. So she shoots her, literally shoots her, and then there's the whole Morgan blowing up, which
terrible.
which she replaced the placebo in his bipolar medication. These are all the things she did. And yet,
And by the way, not the only time that she messes with meds.
no, with Sunny,
Right, the whole Sonny thing.
she messed it up. She did it again.
And
So
then egregiously, when Sonny is lying on the floor with a heart attack, also can't even bend down to give him his meds.
no, and that was what we said last time was a throwback to the Tracy Quartermain, Edward Quartermain. Am I going to give you your meds?
But don't you think from time to time, like Trina loves Ava, from time to time, we think that maybe Ava will reform and can be a good and loving woman, but then she goes back to her bad ways. And then, of course, there was the marriage to Nicholas.
which got so complicated. And, now she just is money hungry because she fell on hard times.
Okay, well, but I still feel that she got robbed by the Cassadine estate. I
Right.
felt that the Cassadine estate owed her the divorce settlement from Nicholas. I think that was rightly hers.
Right.
And so she may have some justification in her mind for extorting Alexis, who is the trustee of the estate, to get that money, but honey, not $10 million.
Well, she's bilking her for everything.
Wowzers.
Wowzers. And to your point, I think that the only way they could have kept Ava on the canvas, otherwise you would lose Mara West, which you're not going to do. So it's like we have to humanize her at points. She has to have a wonderful relationship with Trina. She has to show some empathy along the way.
Yeah.
Now, on the new episodes, Christina has sent Cody to seduce her.
Which is going to explode. Okay,
It's going to explode.
Christina is so irresponsible. She is always constantly doing things to wreck her life and everybody else's life. But most of our viewers know that Ava had this scene with Christina when Christina was pregnant, carrying Molly's child, but deciding to want the child for her own. And then getting into that tussle with Ava, flying out the Metro Court pool window and the baby dying and blaming Ava. That sort of triggered Christina kind of, going off the deep end.
Well, you said the word tussle, and there was no tussle. She tripped on the thing and went backward, right?
I mean, there might have been a little tussle, but
A little, but you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Christina painted this whole thing like they got into this thing and she went over. No, she fell on it was John who was killed, John's duffel bag that was in Ava.
Right. Right, I know. And the funny thing is that Ava shouldn't have closed the curtains of the room after standing there and everybody seeing her up there. That
Yeah. And then there were photos being taken of her.
Okay, anyway, so Ava, I thought that the thing with Nicholas was a great thing. And in their own time, they had a love affair. It was very complicated. And of course, Nicholas Cassadine, whom we're not really going to talk about too much, though, is himself a tragic, complicated result of the whole Cassadine generational craziness. But now taking up with Rick has always felt like itself a transactional relationship as well, although maybe a little bit of affection there. What do you think?
I think that's a transactional relationship is where it's going to end up. I thought first maybe maybe they'll fall in love despite of the transactional situation.
Even though Rick is totally obsessed with
Elizabeth. And
Yeah.
now I don't think that because Jonathan Jackson just left the show. Left the show earlier than anticipated.
Yes.
And then we just saw in a recent episode, she comforted Rick. Elizabeth, she put her hand on Rick after he felt so bad about losing the case. So I'm like, I could see her ending up back with him.
If Rick deserts Ava, it's all right. There's no hell hath no scorn like
Oh,
Ava scorn, Ava scorn. So that would be bad. But this, I mean, Ava and Rick extorting Alexis. Poor Alexis always has to deal with the horrible actions of everybody around her. And
cleaning
she
up
doesn't
messes.
show up.
No, and it blows up in her face.
It's terrible. So
Blowing up
she's
in her
covering
face.
up. We discussed last time, Christina, wanted to murder Ava for the death of her child. It ended up backfiring. She ended up putting Elizabeth and Rick in the hospital. That was a whole mess. And by the way, that missing car, because the insurance company, if they're going to pay out, if Elizabeth tries to file a suit against the car company, then the car company would want to find the car to see if it was actually defective. That could be the smoking gun that reveals that the brakes were tampered with, and then that leads back to Christina. But well, anyway, this whole sordid affair, Christina now her mom having to hide that, and Rick.
'Cause they don't want Molly to know. They don't want Molly to know, which is the whole thing of this. You're going to all these lengths to not let Molly know that your sister almost killed your father. Like that's kind of like what they keep bringing up. And I'm like, just tell her already. But that's not
Right.
going to happen that way. It's
Well,
going
to
to
say
keep on.
nothing of her going to prison for the rest of her life, which almost would be a good thing, but
Who,
uh,
Christina?
yeah.
Oh, I agree. I think Christina should go to prison. I think Christina has caused so much trouble.
Yeah.
How could they keep letting her wander around time after time and time? I would put her in a mental institution.
They were going to do that, and that was a great plan. But of course, Christina would have none of that.
No. And so
Oh,
it's
so now they've hatched this plot to have Cody seduce Ava. And Cody, by the way, I like Cody a lot, but he's so desperate for money, he's going to go along with this Sunset Boulevard kind of thing, where, at some point Ava will shoot him and say, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up, that kind of a thing.
well, I just don't know. I love Cody and I mean I love Josh Kelly and I love Cody, but I don't quite understand like when did he just become so desperate for
Well,
money?
when he finds out that Sasha is his cousin, that's got to be a real cock block. Excuse my French.
Right, he just lost it at right. So
That
that's all
was
happened.
terrible. After that, Cody was never the same.
No.
But of course, he makes a lot of questionable decisions, like his relationship with Selena Wu, yada, yada, yada. And I thought there was going to be a thing between Cody and Molly. Did I get that right?
I still think there is a possible future for Cody and Molly. I mean, I've talked to Kristen Vaganos, who plays Molly, and I think that's kind of the plan. Now, whether it tracks and people want it is yet to be seen.
Right. But we do know that this seduction of Ava by Cody is going to end very badly.
Well, either she's completely onto it and is going to flip it on him, right? Or she gets caught with this guy and Christina, and somehow it all blows. It's still going to blow up on Christina, I think.
It's a disaster.
Unless because of Christina's absolute insanity, Cody gets shot by Ava or something, like something weird happens.
Yeah,
she's got another thing on her list that she's responsible for.
you never know. Cody could be going the way of many other characters that wanted to leave the show, and it just had to have a.
No, I don't think they're going to get. Well, I don't know. I mean, they bring in new people all the time, so
They are killing their leading men, at an alarming rate, though. Let's turn our attention to the police commissioner, the woman who, the great spy, Anna Finola Hughes, who seems to be less than totally effective despite her many years in law enforcement and spying. First of all, let's just say Finola Hughes, one of the great actresses, legacy actress,
yes,
John Travolta. I mean, she's done a lot in her career. But why don't you set up a little bit of legacy continuity on Anna, please?
When Anna arrived on the scene, and there was a clip recently being showed, I remember her first day. She was a double spy. She was working as the two sides. And she shows up, and I remember she showed a clip of her against this really tall guy. I don't know if you and I talked about this, but every man on a soap opera is 6'4". So she was in this like scene with him. She was a super spy. She was the ex-wife of Scorpio. She had a child with Scorpio, which is Robin, legacy characters.
Yes.
And through the years, she's had historic love stories with Duke and Anna and Robert and Anna and on and on and on. But she has played both sides of the fence in terms of her spydom. She's been with the WSB, she's been against the WSB, and she became the police commissioner. And to your point, I think she's an absolutely very bad police commissioner because the crime goes rampant. She can't put anybody behind bars. Every case gets solved by the WSB or somebody else, but not Anna.
Can you help me understand why do we never see Robin in the plot line?
I think it'd be really difficult to, I mean, visually see the Kimberly McCullough as Robin.
Yeah.
I think Kimberly's just so busy with her directing career and they don't have time to get her back in with her schedule, and kind of like to have her there for a second and not any length of time would be dissatisfying to the audience. I
Although
think
they,
I
although
think
they brought in her daughter Emma very effectively, I think.
very effectively.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I could see Kimberly returning down the line for like a big event, like if Emma got married. But the other problem is, we don't have Patrick either, because Patrick is the father and he's over on Y&R.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Anna and Valentine's relationship. Of course, the great James Patrick Stewart, whom I adore, who may be off the show for good now, I'm not sure. But I thought that Anna and Valentine were sort of the star-crossed lovers who they loved each other, but they could never make it work. And of course, Anna accidentally shooting Valentine's daughter didn't help.
Now that was a bad move. But I was gonna say, from the very beginning when Valentine came in and they did his backstory, that he was like the elephant and he's like this hunched over, like he had to be reconstructed. If you remember the story, he was like disfigured.
Right.
And I felt it was very sad, and he loved Anna. It was very Elephant Man-ish. I just felt like a throwback to the Elephant Man, and I loved that. So he always loved Anna. So it was wonderful that finally they played the love story of the two that went on over several years, but it was always, he just couldn't keep himself out of trouble. And I don't know the contractual situation with James in the show, or, leaving and coming. He had outside projects, as you know, as well.
That's
But I think they're always amazing chemistry between James and Finola. But
yeah.
now she needs a bona fide love interest.
Okay, well, at one point she had a smooch with Jason. So I was wondering maybe if something like that would happen. And the whole Africa escapade with Jason, Jen Sidwell, trying to kill them. Now she is going to try and, in her own feeble way, get Jen's put away. Although
Yeah,
Jordan,
Jen's Fitaway and Professor Dalton. She
well, we
wants
don't
to figure out
know everything about Professor Dalton yet. All we know is cold fusion and illegal and some kind of bad animal testing.
correct.
But what he's actually doing, we don't know yet, but probably it's something horrible. And my curiosity is piqued, as well as, Emma, who I think is going to try and seduce him. Or I don't know if Emma is interested in him or she just wants to seduce him to find out what he's up to. But certainly Anna and then Jordan working surreptitiously with Jens as his COO, also trying to bring the guy down, will be very, very.
I just wanted to say regarding, like, I thought maybe they would go Jason and Anna. And I don't mean to jump ahead of you, but
Yeah.
but Jason hasn't had any love story either.
Uh,
If they're not going with them, then my only thought is, with the news that Kelly Tebow is coming back to General Hospital, that
is
it's got to
exciting.
be, which is so exciting, that it's got to be Jason and her.
I mean, their chemistry
Was off the chart.
was so fantastic. I really thought they were going to go all the way. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Lulu, Alexa Havens, this whole coma thing, which well, really was spread out over 4 years. And then she finally came out. The tragic circumstances, how she kind of came out, it was sort of aided by getting Sam's liver or
She donated her liver.
yeah.
Sam donated her liver to
Yeah.
Lulu to save her.
And that was successful, but actually Sam ended up dying by the angel of death, Cyrus. So Sam didn't actually die because of giving the liver to Lulu. But I know that, that Sam's specter always comes between Lulu and Dante.
The thing that is really a little I was so excited to have the character of Lulu back, and I think we all were.
Yeah.
Up until the point of this obsession with the who Geo thing is, parentage,
Right.
she was a really likable character, and I thought Alexa was doing a fantastic job. And again, she's a great actress, and this has nothing to do with her. But then she's given this material, and now like you said earlier, everyone's kind of hating on her. I don't know how they get her out of this because it's kind of like you invested all this time to bring back Lulu, to have her reunite with Laura and Lucky and Dante and Rocco and Charlotte and all of this. And now there's this like, I don't know how they're gonna get her to be beloved again.
Wasn't there a kind of a flirtation with
Odie, which
yeah,
is what, yeah.
so that could be a way out of it. Anyway, yeah, she's not in everybody's favor right now, but you're right, that could change. That also brings me to the wonderful Eden McCoy as Jocelyn. She's been on the show for how many years now?
I think, well, she was 5, you know, I mean, like she was so young.
Wow.
I mean, she has literally grown up before our eyes. And what a great actress. Like, I think she's just perfect in this part. I really do. And there's not many people that, you know, she's a daytime Emmy winner. I think she's perfect. She's really great as you can literally believe she's Carly's daughter. And, you know, they kind of worked in her athleticism and everything with this new story with her WSB agent thing.
Forgive me for digressing just for a second. One other note about Jason before we come back to Eden. Was it just me? I thought that the marriage thing with Jason and Carly was cringy. Am I the only guy that thought that? I mean, I know they love each other, but do I really want to see them consummate a physical relationship?
Well, the issue I had with it was we went all the way to that point where they're like falling in love, you know, like they're, you know, and then they don't do that, and then Sonny walks in, you know, which I don't know. It's a very weird thing. Now they're just like back to being. I just didn't like that they were getting very close, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're like, "Well, we're back to being friends. Sonny's
I
here."
was never
That was
comfortable with that. I mean, I was never comfortable with it. Now, ultimately, I think Carly will probably end up back with Sonny again, but although Natalia's around and they're kind of, kind of back and forth with Sonny. But I just wanted to mention that. Forgive the digression. This new plot line with Josh working for the WSB, didn't it seem a little implausible or did it make perfect sense?
it seemed completely implausible that this young woman shoots and kills Cyrus Renault. They, you know,
But I can see though.
yes, I completely see the rationale and I agree with that.
Yeah.
What I don't agree with is the blackmail of, hey, I'm going to keep this quiet, but you're coming to work as a spy and we're taking you into training. And literally within a month, she finished training. Like 1 month. She goes to the handler, Vaughn,
Right.
trains her, and now she's ready to go.
Right.
That's the plausible thing.
Well, okay. With the death of Dex, which was tragic, horrible, snuffed out by Cyrus, just, and I loved her and Dex. I thought they were a great couple. I really did. This new guy, her handler, Vaughn, Bryce Durfee, aren't they setting him up to be a potential future love interest or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
I mean,
think.
it's very clear. Like you can, you know, when there's contentious, you know, little infighting between the two, and they're going to end up in some kind of romance.
But okay, so this was kind of a nasty thing, pushing Emma out of the way so she could maneuver to get at Dalton. Um, Even though Emma was basically out for the same thing and even revealed as such to,
He said it to her.
yeah, so why,
I'm just confused about that too. Like, and you know, they have a contentious relationship from childhood too. So
right,
Emma's clearly doesn't care, and she's going to just by any means possible um solve
right.
this.
But Joss can't reveal, her WSB affiliation, so she couldn't tell her even if she wanted to. But I think it'll be an interesting plot line to follow. But with Emma trying to seduce Professor Dalton and Joss trying to also find out what's up, I think the worlds are going to collide in a messy way.
I'm thinking that something's going to happen to both of them, like get locked, kidnapped, and they're going to have to work together at some point to get out of the whole mess. So they're going to be apart now, but something's going to happen where they're like, I hate you, you hate me. We got to figure a way out and save the day. That's what I think is my prediction. Somewhere
Um,
down the line.
I love that theory and I hope it happens. The other thing I love about Joss is that she's not afraid to get in the face of people and completely diss them. Like, during the custody battle, Michael's custody battle.
Oh,
She
I loved when she went into the woman's room and went at Willow at the nurse's ball. Like she's like, you skank.
Right.
Like she just goes at her. Like,
Fantastic. It's fantastic. But as we all know, that custody battle was just decided. And I think it was a bit of a shocker that Michael got sole custody. What do you think about that?
I thought it was a shocker. And I had asked everybody that follows me on social media, thumbs up or thumbs down on the decision. They were unanimously thumbs up. Everyone was thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because
Oh,
she,
and I mean,
and what the judge,
Willow almost had a breakdown in the courtroom. I
well,
mean,
I don't know, she didn't. So basically, her behavior literally, as Diane said outside the courtroom, what Willow just, there's no way the judge, seeing Willow's behavior after the decision, would ever grant her
yeah, it
custody.
kind of validated this,
But where I'm going with this is either there was a document that Willow signed over to Drew, right? That if something happens to her,
guardianship,
right?
which
What's
was
to say that knocks her out of the way because she's a mental case? She can't take care of herself. He does something manipulative, and now there's this document. Would that still hold up in court? I don't know.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's really tragic to see Wiley torn in all these different directions. And by the way, that young actor, he's wonderful.
Okay, I have my yes. He's better now. Better now.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, he's a young man, but
He's
he's
really young, but now they've got him like at least playing the moment.
yeah.
Like yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Sophia Matson, Sasha. Let's just kind of set up her backstory.
Well, she came on as a model, and she also came on as trying to trick Nina into believing she was her daughter, Willow.
Yeah.
And that was terrible. And she took the money. It wasn't Valentine behind it.
Yeah, Valentine was behind the whole,
Right. Valentine was behind the
hired
thing.
Sasha to do that. Yeah.
Right. She faked it, but ends up really caring for Nina in the process when the truth comes out. And then to redeem herself, they redeem her. She has a beautiful love story with Brando, has his child, and then in this heartbreaking story,
Loses the child.
they lose the child at basically birth in the nursery.
Terrible. And then
And then
loses
they,
Brando.
what? Yeah.
And loses Brando.
Right. But in between all this, she has a drug addiction. So she kept being hooked back onto meth. And
Caused by Cyrus Renaud.
by Cyrus Renaud.
Right.
So she's like had a history of drug addiction because of Cyrus. So there's always that to fall back on if things go well. So then she gets her life back together. Brando dies.
Yeah.
And she has to soldier on. And then she becomes part of the deception model, and then that goes bust. And then now she's the cook at the Quartermaines. And has
dealing with Tracy,
Tracy
constant pulling at her.
pulling at her. And then she, finds out she's in a relationship with Cody. And then they find out that they can't be together because they're related.
Cousins.
They're cousins.
Terrible.
So she goes flying out and then goes to a bar, and she's drinking at the bar. And that's the same thing that Michael found out and saw on the nanny cam what happened. So he leaves, and the two hook up. And she gets knocked up,
Yep.
and now on the courtroom floor.
Unbelievable. Fabulous.
Best way to have a baby, right on the courtroom floor.
She's fantastic, and it has the baby on the courtroom floor. The truth comes out, and now I'm thinking Michael and Sasha. Even though Sasha says, "Oh, I want to raise the kid myself."
Pish tosh.
Sasha, right?
Yeah, Michael and Sasha. Eventually, you could see Willow and Michael still have feelings for each other, probably.
Yeah, if she ever gets out of the loony.
If she ever gets out of the loony bin, which I don't think will happen because I think Drew will keep her there.
And by the way, Jason, ever faithful, ever wonderful Jason, ready to take the fall as the father of the child, enduring whatever it takes to protect the people around him that he loves.
Adam, what man do you know that would would be like, hey, I'm pregnant. Will you cover for me? Okay.
I mean, that's why men and women all love Jason, would all marry him, and all have his children.
That's right.
But I think Sasha's character arc has just absolutely been sensational, and I think that she and Michael are now maybe fated to be together.
I think so too. I concur.
Let's talk about Christina a little bit. Lexi Ainsworth, she's a fabulous actress.
You mean Kate or Lexi?
You hate,
You said
uh,
Lexi, the first Christina or Kate Manzi?
I'm sorry, Kate.
Yeah.
Nancy. Yeah, the current Christina. Yeah. Um, Kate is fabulous. Great actress. You want to kill the character, though.
Right. And I think Kate Manzi from her time on Days of Our Lives as Abigail Demira and to now, one of the things she does so well is play this, mentally unstable character. She's, on Days of Our Lives, she had a split personality. She plays the neuroses and the emotionally traumatized, challenged characters on these shows and makes it believable.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to kill Christina, though. Like the fans are like, please stop, because Christina is a train wreck and she's gotten away with so much. And that's why I really was hoping, to your point earlier, that when Alexis had the document to put her away, I was hoping they would put her away.
I still think that Christina she'll shoot somebody or she'll maybe kill somebody. I think that's the ultimate character arc outcome of this unstable character is that somebody's going to be in the line of fire from her. I'm just not sure who. And I mean, her mom, poor Alexis. I feel like she's gotten in so deep between taking the money from the Cassadine estate, $10 million worth of embezzlement, and covering up her daughter's attempted murder. I don't see how Alexis can come out of this unscathed.
Let me ask you this. So we were talking earlier about all the bombshells on the show. So we've got a built-in bombshell here. Molly does not know. How do you think it'll come out that Molly will find out what Christina did? That's the thing and then be so mad at her mother for hiding the truth and helping Christina, which is Molly always feels second to Christina.
Maybe it's that car, the smoking gun of the car, and then when it gets proven that the brakes were tampered with, possibly.
I feel it's going to be I think it's going to be a bigger thing that somehow.
This insidious relationship of Ava and Rick constantly parasitizing off of Alexis.
I think they have to turn on each other, Ava and Rick.
Which could happen because of Cody.
Right.
Or Rick's infatuation with Elizabeth. Yeah. But it'll get very, very messy. I know we're running low on time. I want to talk a little bit about Curtis, Donnell Turner.
He's, as you know, from doing the GH convention and everything, Donnell always wanted to be the Black Luke Spencer. That was what he literally loved Luke and he wanted to be that. And I think when he came onto the show, they were making him more like that. In recent years, it hasn't been as much that, because he's been in the Aurora, business situation and the thing with Drew.
Right.
So.
And of course, that his moment when he was paralyzed, and we didn't know if he'd ever regained his ambulatory ability, but he did through hard work, which was great. So he came back from that. But do you feel that Curtis has a history of bailing from relationships prematurely in the face of?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. It drives
lies.
Yes, it drives me nuts. This holier than thou thing that he's currently upset with his current wife, Portia, for not telling him about the blackmail that Drew's doing and the ketamine and what she did and covering it from her when she was just trying to spare him the situation. And he immediately goes, you lied. He did it to Jordan. He did it to Portia.
There was a cover up over Heather Weber's blood charts too.
Yes. But no,
you don't bail on a marriage because of that any more than he should have bailed on Jordan.
I never understood the bailing on Jordan after everything they had gone through. It just was like that was that. And now I feel there's hints of him going back to Jordan or having sex with Jordan or something
Yeah.
because right? You see it coming.
And then, by the way, I always love it when his dad shows up.
Marshall.
Marshall is always, wonderful. And the family dynamic, of course, with Stella and with Trina, that whole nuclear family is fantastic. So I do love that about the show, but I do think that Curtis is not the most reliable marriage material. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I think I feel like I feel like I want to lean into him more as like a heroic character. A flawed one is fine, but this thing with the women kind of like knocks the character down for me. It's like, what?
Of course, Donnell is a gorgeous looking specimen, so you want everybody wants to love him, but some questionable choices. Now, I adore Cameron Matheson as Drew. I hate Drew, but I love Cameron. I think he's sensational. Let's talk about the character of Drew because there's a very dynamic character changing.
I don't know what I'm watching. Like, this is not Drew. I'm still confused if this is really Drew.
Give us some Drew legacy continuity. It's a little confusing.
It is confusing, and the legacy continuity is confusing. So Drew Kane ended up in Port Charles, and it
Billy Miner?
Was it what?
Billy Miner?
Billy
Was
Miller.
Drew, Billy Major?
Miller. Billy Miller.
At one point was Drew?
Right. So Billy Miller came into the show as Drew, but it ended up being Jason. It was so confusing. So there were mind swapping and mind mapping. There was mind mapping.
Right.
And then the real Drew Kane, because it was mind mapping. So Billy Miller ended up being Jason, but there was the mind mapping.
Right.
So,
And the tragic Billy Miller, sadly, he took his own life. Very sad.
it's very sad because he was one of the greatest, won 3 daytime Emmys and one of the greatest actors.
Seemed like an incredible human being.
Great man.
Yeah.
And very sad circumstances.
Yeah.
Fast forward, they recast the role with Cameron Matheson. And
Another gorgeous man.
right. And so Cameron, when he first comes on, is in a prison, like he's got the beard and the prison, and you're like, he comes onto the show and he's a good guy. Drew is a good guy. He's the good guy. And then all of a sudden, over the last whole thing with Willow, he's become the most hated character on soap operas, and he's horrible. Drew's actions are horrible.
Let's stop for a second at the affair with Willow. How the heck did that happen? It didn't seem like something like that should. I mean, Willow seemed like a kind of a goody two shoes. How did it all of a sudden?
I think Drew saved Willow's life because she needed a saving.
Right.
And so she felt indebted to him. And then they had because of how she felt indebted to him, they had this growing attraction. And he was having sex with her mother, Nina.
Which that still hasn't
Which has not come out. Which has not
come out yet. It's going to come out.
Which I'm hoping comes out soon.
And that'll be curtains for Willow and Nina. I know when that comes out, I think she's not going to forgive Nina.
No.
Right.
But is this building so for everybody, Drew is most hated. He's done deplorable things, most recently in front of little Michael, saying out loud, that Michael does not want
Wiley, in front of Wiley, right?
In front of Wiley.
Oh my God.
That his father doesn't want him because he's got a new baby.
And then Willow, of course, just is willing
she blames Michael. She won't believe Drew did anything bad.
But it's dope.
So she's a dope. He's horrible. And isn't it interesting? I've been friends with Cameron for years. I love Cameron Matheson.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a person. He's a great person.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting to see him play this horrible guy. But he's doing it so well that everyone hates Drew.
How about the little move where he paid the nurse in Europe to block? That's got to come out.
That doesn't come out either. That didn't come
Oh,
out either.
when these things come out, all of these different moves that he pulled to undermine everything around him will come out.
Adam, do you think we are headed towards a Who Shot Drew story without killing the character?
That would be fabulous. But I mean, even if they do kill the character, I think it really would be fabulous because there are so many people that would love to kill Drew that it would be, Michael, you should be writing the show.
What about Adam? Adam, what about the fact that Jason said just the other day, this is all on Drew. This is all on Drew. Like I'm feeling like either a murder or a shooting, but he lives and there's some kind of trial,
Right.
something.
Those two had a big knockout not too long ago either, which was fantastic. Also, what's the motivation for paying for Kai's surgery? What are his designs on Kai? Kai becomes a public
Upon in his ability to say, through my connection to this world-class surgeon, Kai is now a star football player. I saved him. I think it's something to do with, being able to say, look at what the good thing I did. I saved this guy's football career as a political ploy. That's what I think, unless there's something else.
and so if we talk about him, we also have to talk about the great Caitlin McMullen as Willow. And as I said, did she come out of that cult?
Yes, and I'm hoping that they're hearkening back to this. I mean, this is a girl that ended up in a cult
Yeah.
with Shiloh. That's how she came onto the show. She was
That's
she was teaching kids, and it came out that she has a past with Shiloh.
right.
She was in the cult. So you got to think about a girl,
Her whole uh,
right?
Munchausen or however personality complex thing that she's got where she just wants to be shaped by men or.
And I'm thinking, to your point, now with her having this breakdown, this is the time to explore that. Like, if they're going to get her mental health, maybe it's about what happened to her.
I think it would be fantastic. But again, I think there's a lot of things that Drew did that haven't come to light yet, that when she finds out about them, it's going to be the end for her and Drew. And who knows how Drew will respond. But I think we're all looking forward to that. I know we're almost out of time, but one more character I'd like to talk about. I know there's 50 more characters, but we couldn't finish this conversation with talking about one of my favorite actresses in soaps, Cynthia Watros as Nina. Just give us a little background on Cynthia because she is, an award-winning, sensational actress.
Well, I never thought I'd see the day because I fell in love with her as Annie Dutton on Guiding Light, in which she won an Emmy, and she played a horribly, unbalanced Annie in she was the Reva Josh foil in that story and won a Daytime Emmy for it. And it was decades later that she came back. She ended up on Y&R, and then she came to General Hospital as Nina. And the character it's a weird character to begin with, because this is a character who woke up out of a coma after 20 years. Like, she was basically, her mother had screwed her up, had stole her baby. I mean, there was so many things with the character. And
Excuse me, Michael, did she replace Michelle Stafford? I'm trying to remember.
yes, so Michelle Stafford was the first Nina.
And was fantastic.
And then when Y&R wanted her back as Phyllis,
Right.
Cynthia came in and replaced Michelle. And it's two very different actresses, right? These are two powerhouse actresses. So,
sensational.
But Cynthia's amazing. And I want to tell you that I sat here and had my water and I watched the nurses' ball. And when her and Drew were on the red carpet doing the MC stuff, she was so funny. I was just spitting out water. She was perfect. Perfect. I think she can do everything. She can do comedy. She can do drama. She can do everything.
And that Christmas ball red carpet, by the way, is a minefield with
oh, good.
long left and right. Is fantastic. Cynthia's chemistry with Laura Wright, absolutely unbelievable. Those two.
Well, they have to keep this as the ongoing now nemesis ladies of the right. They have to keep them constantly coming back to being rivals
Well,
because
but I
you
mean,
know
it's fairly egregious that, Nina, to
Nina
felt
did the worst thing possible by what she did with Sonny.
funny. That was
How do you come back from that?
so great, though. I mean, what one of the great arcs in soap opera history, that whole thing of the Sonny as Mike and then when Sonny remembered, and yet Sonny and her stayed together. But eventually, what was it that soured Sonny on Nina finally?
I thought it was the truth that came out about everything, but am I thought it was when he learned what she had done eventually, but maybe I'm wrong.
So now, of course, she and Drew had that relationship, which itself was, I guess, friends with benefits or whatever you want to call it. But with her daughter falling in love with the guy too, has created this horrible secret that when it comes out will, I think, devastate the daughter. And that, if not what Drew did I mean, that also will turn Willow against Drew as well as, like what he did over in Europe. That's on the laundry list of things that when Willow finds out will just turn her against Drew.
And her mother. And
Yeah.
her mother. Yeah. Before we go, I just thought we should touch on the fact that the big news that Erica Slezak is coming to General Hospital.
Yes, fantastic news. You want to speak about that a bit?
I was just so thrilled to kind of break it. And, she's coming on for a short-term role.
Yeah.
She'll be on in the fall. We don't know what part she's playing. Fans are hoping maybe it's Vicky from One Life to Live because Alexa Haven's Lulu works for the Llanview Banner. Vicky owned the banner, went on One Life to Live, or is she going to play somebody else? There's
Are
other
you saying we're going to have crossover continuities?
maybe, maybe.
Love it.
Maybe they bring a lot of One Life to Live people over to the show, and they now have the ability, ABC, to use the characters from One Life to Live or On My Children. They have the rights to it, as we talked about before.
Yes.
With the but I don't know. I will see who she ends up to be. But that was such a wonderful piece of news that Erica, who's so beloved, would be reunited with Frank Valentini, from who was the EP
Yes.
at One Life to Live, and is going to have a short-term run on the show.
Well, Michael, in our, I believe it was 6-year run of the official General Hospital conventions, it was an amazing run with an amazing cast. ABC and Frank and MK and everybody, Dominic and everybody over there at their production teams and at the studio, and then the actors, and then you were such an inspiration and a pleasure for us to be benefited with, all of your wealth of knowledge and feeling and care for the show. It was an honor to work with you. And I'm very sad that it's done. Never say never, though. We could always come back. But I want to thank you for all of those great years, your camaraderie, your friendship, and just the amazing experience that I had working with you on those shows.
Same here, Adam. I felt the same way. It was so great. Every year we got to reconnect and share our love from General Hospital and entrust me with going on stage with the actors and the audience and it was a wonderful experience. It was one of the best experiences of my career, and I loved it. And so thank you too.
So grateful for it. And again, reminding our viewers that the Michael Fairman channel is your go-to for all the dish on soaps, as well as other things as well. And also, Michael, you have a musical career that is blossoming.
Yes, and also michaelfairmantv.com is my website for all things soap opera, entertainment, all of that. Michael Fairman channel is all the video content. So it's the live streams, interviews, music, shows, all of that, special event coverage and all that.
Michael Fairman, we love you and thank you for being such an important part of the Creation Entertainment Pop Culture Cinema Squad. Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you so much. See you soon.